Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by your Southern California BMW Centers on the home of USC football, ESPN Los Angeles 710. We have a huge show for you tonight, JJ. We're live at the lab, of course, in preparation for the big game against Oregon on Saturday. First up, it'll be the interim head coach, Clay Helton, and then his quarterback, Cody Kessler. Later, we will hear from freshman phenom Ronald Jones II, and also a wonderful partner from CHLA. I am Jordan Moore. John Jackson, as always, and JJ, just a month later, look who controls its own destiny in the Pac-12 South.
Man, when we first took the trip to Colorado, we needed help. Everybody had to help us.
We got some help, all right.
We got some major help, and now this is the best position to be in, right? You win, you're in, and you control your own destiny. Not since, how long has it been? 7 weeks, maybe, going back to the Washington game where we had control of anything. So, so it really feels good.
Well, that's why the man to your left called himself the biggest college football fan in America on Saturday. And let's get to Clay Helton now. His segment brought to you by your Southern California BMW Centers, exclusive partner of the SoCal BMW Crosstown Cup. Now during the BMW Mission to Drive, lease a 2015 BMW 320i sedan for as low as $369 a month with zero do-it signing. Just sign and drive. Details at SoCalBMW.com. Riding a 4-game winning streak, it is Clay Helton. And Coach, would you buy an Arizona T-shirt? How was watching? How were you watching those games on Saturday?
I'm going to tell you, I was the biggest college football fan. I was sitting there. It was nice to be at home and have other people have to worry about scoring points and making first downs and stopping people. And was sitting there watching with my family. And my 12-year-old was with me, Turner. And I don't know who the 12-year-old was between him and me because we were both yelling and screaming and celebrating. And it was a great night of college football for the Trojans.
At this point as a head coach, do you do the math on what has to happen and all the mathematical equations to get in, or do you just say, hey, look, we just got to win on Saturday?
I could fib and say no.
Okay.
But no, you always you know where you stand. And we knew after, winning Colorado, some things had to happen for us to control our own destiny. Just like the Pac-12 always is, every win is so valuable. And this league is so competitive that if you don't bring your A game, you can lose. And, we've kind of all beat each other. And now there's a lot of teams coming down the stretch here that have opportunity to play for a championship, and we're just very thankful we're one of them.
But you guys over the last month have thrived with this our backs against the wall playoff mode. Every game's a must-win game. Do you have a conversation this week? Hey, this is temporary. One loss, and all of a sudden, the heat catches up with you, and have a conversation about handling success.
Yeah, we handled it in our first team meeting this Monday. We had given the players off both Saturday and Sunday, kind of get fresh again. Came back Monday morning, and the first thing we said is nothing changes. We've been in playoff football for 4 weeks now. Nothing is going to change from a practice standpoint for how our preparation. These kids have a very constant format right now, which I think is really good for them. And they came out today just like they have done the past 4 Tuesdays, or really 5 Tuesdays, and really had great preparation this morning with great energy.
Well, the one thing that is a major impact, and I know this is, starting the first segment off with some bad news, but, the linebackers, both Cameron Smith, Lamar Dawson, both out, both hurt. Talk to me a little bit about the situation. Where do you stand? How do you replace them? How do you move forward?
Well, first, just thankful for those 2 kids. The job that they've done over the entire season. They're 2 of the huge reasons we're even in the position we're in right now. Yeah. They're one from a leadership standpoint, but also, their style of play that they brought to the table. It's been at an extremely high level. Very sad for them and our football team. Fortunately, we do have depth at the position, and we've had a next man up mentality. And that's how we've had to survive. We've had a number of injuries throughout our team. And this is just another one we're going to have to deal with. We don't make excuses. We find answers, and our answers are going to be in the identity of Anthony Sorrow as a senior, who's a leader, a great player. A Chinna, a Buddha, those type of guys at Osa Messina, Michael Hutchings. Those 5 guys kind of have to fill those 2 interior spots, and thank goodness you have 21 out there on the edge doing what he does. So,
right.
So we're in good shape. It's just we got to have a next man up mentality.
Also on the offensive line, you're a little banged up there. What's your situation like in particular, right guard?
Vianney's very sore. He tore a meniscus, which you can play with, but you have to be able to get over the pain first. And there is some severe pain with that injury. It was an injury that Claude had that held him out for a little bit. And, you're able to play with it. But it'll be all a pain threshold. Is he comfortable enough to play? If not, Chris Brown, this is a great opportunity for him. He's played a lot of ball this year. Very talented young man that is going to have a great career here. It's his opportunity. I'm really excited for him to have more of a role this week.
Let's go back to linebackers just for a second. You talked about the 5 guys that are sort of going to rotate in there some way, somehow. The one unique name that you mentioned, Uchenna Nwosu, he was an outside guy, now moving inside. How difficult is the transition for him to make to move to the inside? And why is he one of the 5?
Yeah, he is such a tremendous. He's a unique body type because he has the athleticism to be out on the edge, but he also has the size to play the interior linebacker position, and he brings such athleticism to the table. When you think of Chin and you think of Osa, they're extreme athletes, and we're getting ready to play an extremely athletic football team. This is not a downhill run team, 2-back 21 personnel. This is a tremendous interior run team, but also on the perimeter, and you have to be able to run lanes and things like that. So that's that's their strength also. So we want to take a look at them and try to find out what's the best 2 players in that interior. We'll go through the week and give every kid reps, and then Justin, myself, and Peter Sherman will make the best decision for our team.
Well, one of the things that will help those linebackers is how well the defensive line is playing right now. And a guy that maybe we don't talk about enough, Delvon Simmons, he was our player of the game, really filling up the stat sheet. And what have you seen from Delvon, and how has he grown throughout the year?
I love to watch a man progress throughout the year and really perfect his craft. He's a guy that has just gotten better and better with each game, and he was our MVP too. You look up, and that guy makes a tremendous play on getting a ball out that really changed the momentum of the game on a fumble. He has 2 sacks in the game. We had 6 total. He has 2 of them. And then, to have a huge block kick, on special teams. He was just a complete player for us, and that's what you want from a senior leader.
And talk about that line in general. I mean, Jordan makes a great point. The defensive line, if there's been one position that has grown leaps and bounds throughout this year, they're getting heavily criticized at the beginning of the year. It's the same guys in the same uniform. Why are they so much better?
I just think there's been a point of emphasis on our offensive line and defensive line they're going to win us a championship. If we're going to get this thing done, it's going to have to be there, and we put it to the forefront as a team. They understood it. We dictated our whole practice plan around that also throughout the week of getting those guys better, putting an emphasis on the toughness of those 2 positions. And the kids, they bought into it. I'd say it's coaching, but those kids, it's their choice to say, yeah, Coach, I'm all in. We're going to do this. We're going to get better. And you look up, and 5 games into this thing, 19 sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a
never
phenomenal
saw that
number.
12 sacks in the last 2 games, 20 tackles for loss in the last 2 games. And I'm just sort of wondering, we talk about confidence in a lot of sports. Maybe we don't talk about it enough in football. And even if we do, we're usually talking about, a quarterback that runs hot and cold maybe. But is there confidence in that defensive room right now? Because and the other thing I was going to say about the defensive performance, even better than the score total, because the 2 of the 3 touchdowns they gave up were on a short field. I mean, they really put together a nice performance on Friday night.
Yeah, they did a tremendous job, and there has been a building of confidence throughout that unit all the way around, and confident players play good, and we create positivity. I think from Justin and his staff and our entire staff, we're trying to be as positive we can with these kids, to be able to teach them, educate them, and they're really buying into it. They've made it extremely fun for us as a coaching staff.
Now, receiving-wise, on the offensive side, Juju has been Juju. Typical week in and week out is sort of the broken record at this point. But the other guys, give us an update on how you feel their progression is going. How ready are they for Saturday? Because what's going to happen. They're going to double Juju, and somebody else is going to have to step up.
Yeah, I love the progression that DeQuan Hampton's making. He's really he's making critical plays at critical times. Made a huge 3rd down catch for us the other night that moved the chains on a scoring drive. He makes the winning block on Justin Davis. If you look at what we did on the last 3rd and 6, he's the receiver that we motion in and back out, and he's on a 230-pound man as a wideout. He's a 210-pound wideout and makes the lead block that springs Justin out for the 1st down. So really like the way he's playing. The other guy that I think's really ready to break out, he kind of showed it last week, and we need him to continue, is Stephen Mitchell. I thought he made some big plays in that game for us, and is starting to get really healthy. You can start seeing it on the practice field, and I look forward to watching him in this game. And then our role players, which was really cool to get Jaleel Pinner in the end zone, and Taylor McNamara in the end zone, Tyler to be able to catch that and make a huge first down play for us in the red zone. Those guys that get opportunities and make their plays was really cool to see the other night.
Well, you're going to need all your playmakers on Saturday. Let's get into Oregon. When we come back, you're listening to Trojans Live at the Lab. JJ and I are back here at the Lab with the head coach, Clay Helton, and you can catch his act at the Monday Morning Quarterback as well. Their next one is coming up on November 23rd, so book your spot now. Sign up online at TrojanAthleticFund.com or call 213-740-4167, TrojanAthleticFund.com. You and JJ were having an interesting conversation, at the end of the first segment, and I'm just curious what you're seeing now. So you really created this run identity, and then teams have started to adjust, it seems like. I mean, you've talked a lot about that. You saw a lot of single high safety against Colorado. And then the second part to it is where you almost screwed up a little bit by the first drive because you ran it so successfully, and then obviously you weren't able to run in the next few series. So, I mean, how did that all play into it?
Well, we go in that first drive, and you see the coverage, and you're like, okay, all right, it's going to be one of those nights again. We're loading the box. But we were having some success, and Justin was running really well in that drive, and we get down there, have an opening field goal, and you're like, okay, pretty good. And it was a long drive for us. So come back and kind of shut us down a little bit on the next one, and really to some not necessarily what Colorado was doing. Credit to them, they played really well, but we were making some assignment busts in that first quarter, some attention to detail assignment busts, and you got to have 11 men doing their job. And so when we went in at halftime, really the first time we've been down, as a head coach, first time being down altogether, first time being down at a half. But there was tremendous poise, and literally there wasn't a ton of adjustments. It was just, guys, we have to clean up the assignment parts of it, and I'm really proud of the kids because they didn't flinch. They went back out there. 11 men did their job. You put up 21 points in the second half, and you win the ball game. Obviously, you want to have a full, complete 4 quarters, but at the end of the day, you really want to outscore your opponent. And I love the way this team has been finishing games. If I have to choose between starting fast in the first quarter or finish a game and winning, I'm going to choose finishing. Now, at a perfect situation is just all 4 quarters make me and make my wife extremely happy at home. But I'm really proud of how this bunch is finishing.
I know you got a lot of poise on the sideline. There was not a lot of poise in the broadcast booth, right? We were getting a little bit worried up there when you fell behind. How have you approached it in terms of your own style on this team? Because I know that adversity has hit at different points of the season, and Sark had one way of doing it. What's your way of dealing with adversity when it sets in?
I had some great advice, one from my dad and one from Coach Sark. Just be yourself. And I think one of the things that a leader does, a head coach does, quarterback does, Cody does, I think, extremely well, is you keep your poise. No matter what situation it is, be yourself. All right? Everybody's going to be looking at you, whether you're the quarterback and you've got the ball in your hand every snap, whether you're the head coach. And players are going to react how you react. If you show great leadership and you show poise, whether it's a ball game, on or off the field, they're going to do the same thing. So I've just tried to be myself. That's all I can be. I think kids smell falseness, especially 18 to 21-year-olds. So I've just been myself, and then I have a great bunch of kids around me that have really bought into it, and we're having a lot of fun with it, and we're hoping that it'll keep going.
Everyone's going to need to show some poise this week because this is a tough team and a tough atmosphere. Let's start with that part of it. There are very few players on this team that have any experience in this stadium. Played in tough stadiums before, but this one has a little bit of a reputation to it, and the team to go with it. How do you prepare? How do you prepare for the Ducks and Autzen Stadium?
Yeah, they are a hard team to prepare for. There's so much skill offensively, in my opinion. I think their quarterback Vernon Adams is doing a wonderful job. He's the guy that makes it all tick. It's just like our team. I think any time that you get to November, you really see how special your quarterbacks are. When you have a great quarterback, you have a great team. Thankful goodness that we have Cody Kessler. Yeah. It's the same thing with Vernon. I think he drives that car very, very well. And he has a very unique quality about him to be able to avoid rush and not really take off running, but keep his eyes downfield and make explosion passes. So we got our hands full there. Defensively, they've always been aggressive. ever since I've known him for 6 years now, and I anticipate they're going to do the same. Our blueprint won't change. Stop the run, run the ball, and don't turn it over, and play great teams. And that's kind of been our formula for the last 4 games. So we've been game planning and working in practice to ensure that happening.
You know, Adams is a little bit different a quarterback than the typical Oregon quarterback. You know, they've had Mariota, who you probably have to worry about stopping. You know, you used to have to stop him from running first, and then worry about the pass. You know, as a secondary thought. Adams not really that much. The same type of dynamic runner. Does it make it easier or to make it harder? Because I think he's probably more accurate from the pocket.
I think they do a tremendous job. They have all 3 phases. This young man, it reminds you a lot of Anu at Arizona. We're from, you know, to be able to sit there, and he's a guy that can not only read the run option, and do they do it as much as they did with Marcus? No, right. Oregon doesn't. But they do use the RPOs outside. They use the run-pass option outside. And then he is a quality arm talent. You know, he can make every throw on the field also. So it makes it hard to defend. They literally make you cover every inch of the field.
You haven't schemed against Oregon since Chip Kelly was the head coach, and now you're looking at Mark Helfrich's Oregon. Are they different? How are they different?
You know, I think that system has been around under Coach Kelly, and Coach Helfrich has done a great job of keeping it going. You know, are they running the same exact plays as Coach Kelly? No, there's some differences. You can see Coach Helfrich's own certain style that he's put on there, but the system remains the same, and it's a run-first offense. I mean, they're an elite run team. I think they're 4th in the nation right now in running the ball. So they do a tremendous job, and you have to focus. You have to focus on that first. And you know, like we've done, we've put the quarterback in some situations where he's had to make plays over the last 4 weeks and see if the quarterback can win the game. They have a good one. We'll see if he can.
You know, with Royce Freeman, the running back, you know, he's a bigger guy. I didn't realize he didn't look 230. But
Rolls-Royce Freeman. I mean, that's a great nickname. You got to incorporate a nickname
Rolls
that good.
Right, right. So in terms of trying to stop rolls, right, and he's listed at 230. Does he run that big? Because every time I watch him, it seems like he's scooting to the outside.
Yeah, they have. He's a very, very talented young man. One of the best in the country, I believe, and has a unique ability to run through arm tackles. You have to wrap up this kid, or he's going to run through arm tackles. You have to, and gang tackle. You know, it's hard. It's hard for one DB to get him down. So we're going to have to do a great job of pursuit to the ball, getting the ball, and gang tackling in this game. He's a special talent.
Other than final score, is red zone efficiency your stat of the week? Heard you talking about that this morning.
Yeah, I think points are critical in this game. You know, you're not going to stop Oregon completely. I don't think anybody does. Your job is to try to slow them down, and then you have to have more points on the board than them at the end of the day. And you know, it's going to be a game where I don't think we can have 3 and outs. I don't think we can have those drives that end up in field goals. I think we have to do a great job of third down efficiency and red zone efficiency when you play an Oregon team.
Well, you've done a great job of turning this into a heck of a game on Saturday that we're all looking forward to. It's been quite a month it's been a great month for Oregon. It's an even better month for USC, and it'll all come to a head on Saturday, 12:30 on ESPN. JJ and I, of course, will be up at Autzen Stadium, and our pregame show will start at 10:30 on ESPN Los Angeles. And we'll be back to talk to the coach next week. Thank you again, as always, Coach, for joining us on Trojans Live. Next up, you're going to hear from the quarterback, coach to QB. It's Cody Kessler next at the Lab.